I think the president wants fair and reciprocal terms. That is the driving ethos of what is underpinning our trade agenda. For too long, the United States, to paraphrase the president, we have lost on a lot of these trading terms. So we want to rebalance them to ensure that American manufacturing, to ensure that the goods that arrive into America do not use forced labor. The fact that the capacity in which they are used to provide these goods to the United States is produced upon fair terms.
Now, Southeast Asia is going through a period of economic uncertainty and upheavals. How can U.S. provide solution to these problems?
We have very clear direction from top of our government, from the top of our leadership, that Southeast Asia remains a clear priority for the United States government. At the core, what we want to be doing is providing American solutions to regional challenges and issues. A big part of that is continuing to support our private sector in Southeast Asia. The United States, in terms of our foreign direct investment, we have invested over $500 billion in Southeast Asia, which is more than what the United States has invested in China, Hong Kong, India, Korea, and Japan combined. We have over 6,000 companies represented in Southeast Asia. Here in Malaysia, the United States has contributed to over 350,000 high-skilled jobs. I imagine when you add across the entire region, that number gets very, very high very, very quickly. So if you ask the question, what do we bring to the region? We bring value. We help Southeast Asia diversify its supply chains. And in some ways, most importantly, we create jobs. That's a great foundation for the United States to be operating with. The governments and the people of Southeast Asia recognize that the United States has to be involved and that we are an indispensable partner in the region.
You recently stated that the Code of Conduct should remain fundamentally a negotiation between China and ASEAN. How do you define U.S. role in this process?
We're not party to those negotiations. Fundamentally, we respect the fact that ASEAN will formulate its position based on consensus, which means that amongst the 11 member states, they will need to formulate and move forward with a common foundation. We respect the fact that ASEAN member states will continue to discuss with China on that front.
How far will the U.S. go in protecting its interests in the South China Sea?
South China Sea is a critical maritime domain in which the global economy depends on. Not just Southeast Asia, but U.S. allies in Northeast Asia, the United States. It links the Indian Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. So it's an important waterway for the United States as well. We will continue to uphold important international norms such as freedom of navigation, and we will continue to uphold our treaty obligations to the Philippines as well, and continue to provide security assistance and other forms of support so that our allies and partners in the region have the capacity and the will to defend its own interests as well.
Does Washington see Myanmar and the military government as a destabilizing force in the Southeast Asian region?
What we want to see in Burma is for all the parties in Burma to return to dialogue, for cessation of violence, and for obviously to respect from the position and the perspective of ASEAN member states as it continues to move forward with a 5-point consensus. At the core, the United States wants to see less human suffering. We want to see dialogue so that different parties can exchange their positions. This is why I believe that the ministers held an informal meeting not too long ago to discuss what moving forward on the issue of Burma, the region can undertake.
Do you welcome the military government's recent pivot in allowing restricted engagement with democracy leader Aung San Suu Kyi?
I think what we want to see is a return to dialogue, and if the access of the ICRC to check up on Aung San Suu Kyi's health is a step in that direction, then we want to see further dialogue. This is obviously also an internal issue in Burma, but also a regional issue. So we need to take all these different perspectives into account when thinking about what steps we could take moving forward.
If you had to name one concrete accomplishment during your tenure as U.S. ambassador to ASEAN, what would it be?
What I want to accomplish during my tenure is to ensure that the U.S. cooperation with Southeast Asia is further deepened across all ranges of issues, whether that be on the diplomatic front, whether that be on the advancing the strategic application of foreign assistance, to highlight Secretary Rubio's recent announcement of $2.5 billion in strategic investments in Southeast Asia, and of course, deepening the people-to-people ties. The president stated that we're with ASEAN 100%. That's going to be our posture. That has been our posture, is our posture, and will be our posture moving forward.